When most of us think about therapy, we picture a couch and just talking about our problems, right? But what if it's way more active than that? What if healing is less like a conversation and more like a full-on construction project? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. This powerful metaphor for therapy, a blueprint for what you could call structured restoration. So let's just start with that big question. Is therapy really more than just talking? For a lot of people, the answer seems to be no. It's a place to vent, right? To get some insight, to finally figure out the why behind our feelings. And look, all of that is true, but it's just not the whole story. So I want you to try on a new idea. What if we thought of emotional healing not as just a weekly chat, but as a rebuilding process? A deliberate, structured effort to restore something inside of us that's been damaged or has just fallen apart over time. We're going to unpack this whole metaphor by looking at this really ancient story about rebuilding a city, and you'll see how perfectly it shines a light on the modern process of therapy. And what you're going to see is that this is an active, hands-on process of reconstruction.
Okay, so how does a rebuilding project like this actually start? Well, think about it. Every construction project, literally every single one, begins with raw materials. You can't just build a house with a blueprint and a bunch of good intentions. You need lumber, stone, you need tools. And it turns out the exact same is true for healing.
In the source story we're looking at, the builder, this guy named Nehemiah, makes a really direct request. He just says, "Give me timber." He knows there's no way he can start the work without the materials he needs. And that right there, that's the first, absolutely crucial step, asking for what you need to even begin. And this right here, this brilliantly shows the difference between just understanding a problem and actually being able to fix it. Insight, that tells you the roof is leaking, but resources and tools, that's what you use to actually patch the hole. In therapy, understanding why you're anxious is one thing. Having a concrete tool to manage a panic attack when it hits, that's something else entirely. So what does this timber actually look like in therapy? Well, it's not just one thing, right? It's a whole toolbox. It's coping skills for when your emotions get overwhelming. It's grounding exercises to bring you back to the present moment. It's safety planning. It's even psychoeducation, which is really just a fancy word for understanding how your own brain and body work. These are the raw materials of recovery.
So at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to say, hey, feel better. It's to actually equip someone. It's to say, here are the actual tangible beams that can help you hold your life together while we do the deeper work of rebuilding.
All right, so you've got your materials. What comes next? Well, you build the outer defenses. You start rebuilding the gates and the walls. And in therapy, this translates directly to restoring your personal boundaries and your fundamental sense of safety in the world.
Let's start with the gates. Now, in an ancient city, gates were everything. They controlled who and what came in and out. Clinically speaking, our gates are our boundaries, emotional, relational, even the cognitive filters we use. They're the systems that help us decide what to let into our lives and what to keep out.
You see, when someone's been through trauma or lived in a really chaotic environment, these gates are often busted. They can get stuck wide open, which leads to things like people-pleasing and constantly abandoning your own needs. Or they can be sealed shut, which leads to avoidance, isolation, and just emotional numbness. Neither one is a healthy way to live.
Okay, so we've got the gates. Now, what about the walls? Walls provided the main structure, the main protection for a city, but they also defined it. They created a sense of identity, of belonging, of security. And for us, our internal walls do the exact same thing. They're the structures that give us our sense of who we are.
And just like a real brick wall, our psychological walls can get cracks in them. And these cracks, well, they have names you've probably heard of. Shame. Negative core beliefs. You know, the ones that whisper, "I'm not good enough." A constant state of hypervigilance, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And just a deep confusion about who we even are anymore. This is why this kind of work is so profound. A therapist isn't just patching over symptoms. The real work, the deep work, is helping a person rebuild their fundamental psychological infrastructure. It's about repairing those cracks in the wall and getting the gates working properly again. Right, but think about it. A city isn't just walls and gates. People have to actually live there. And this brings us to the most intimate and maybe the most important part of the entire project, building a home within yourself. In the source material, the builder isn't just focused on these big public structures. He's also rebuilding, quote, "the home where I will live." And that little detail is everything. The work isn't just about external defenses. It's about creating a safe, internal place to just
be. And that, right there, is the ultimate goal of deep therapeutic work. I mean, you can have the strongest boundaries in the world, but if you don't feel safe inside your own head, if your own thoughts are constantly attacking you, the rebuilding just isn't finished. The goal is to feel at home, really, truly at home, in your own mind and body.
So what does this internal construction job look like? Well, it looks like repairing early attachment wounds, the ways our first relationships shaped our sense of safety in the world. It involves reconstructing our internal narratives, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. And it's about fundamentally improving our self-concept so we can finally feel safe and actually welcome within ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about getting the timber, we've talked about building the walls and the gates and creating a home inside, but what's the blueprint that guides this whole thing? Turns out it's remarkably simple and incredibly powerful. If you look back at the original story, the builder followed this really clear three-step process. First, he went out at night when it was quiet and he just assessed the damage. He took stock. Second, he asked for what he needed. He got the timber. And third, he rebuilt with a clear, intentional plan.
Now here's the part that's just, well, it's amazing. This ancient blueprint maps directly onto the modern therapeutic process. Assessing the damage, that's what we call the clinical assessment. Asking for what's needed, that's treatment planning, where the therapist and client figure out the goals and the tools. And rebuilding intentionally, that's the intervention, the active work of therapy itself.
So here's the big takeaway. Healing isn't random. It's not just talking and hoping things get better. At its absolute core, effective therapy is a process of structured restoration. It's a blueprint for rebuilding.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to carry with you. If we use this metaphor for ourselves, we can ask a much more powerful question. It's not, what's wrong with me? It's, what part of my own wall needs rebuilding first? Where do I need to find some timber? Where are my gates a little weak? And how can I start to build a safer home within myself?